Welcome to yet another edition of Standard Bank Talks with Funeka Monjani. My name is Ron Derby, and today we have a special conversation. We have the debut of Amazon CEO on our show, Amazon Southern Africa CEO Rob Kuhn, and of course, Funeka with us today. Hello, Funeka.
Someone.
Yes, Rob.
Sabona.
All right. The reason why we called you to have this conversation, of course, this is your debut in our Black Friday, the big spending period, and Amazon is in South Africa. The big spaceship, the retail arm of it anyway, is in South Africa. So I think you're the big story for the moment. As a quick fire start, right? Just tell us how's it going. We towards the end of November. Tell us how it's been and what's the uptake, the excitement around your arrival, just as a quick entry point.
There's been a lot of excitement. I think we're very happy with where we are at this point in the journey. But I think particularly in the last 2 weeks, we started our Black Friday on 1st of November by offering a number of specials and then dialed it up on Friday, just before Black Friday. And so there are a lot of deals, a lot of different, from consumer electronics, consumables, all sorts of different things. But I think what the response from customers has been just incredible. We've exceeded the forecast that we had for Black Friday so far. And I was actually in the fulfillment center, which is where we're shipping all our products from here in Joburg. And just incredible to see the volume of stuff going out and the excitement from the staff in the center of what's going on. So it's very exciting. We're getting great feedback from our customers, and very happy with where we are at this stage.
So maybe if I can ask a follow-up question. Sure. I didn't expect, I think some people maybe might not have expected Amazon to come to Africa, just given the whole global expansion. Maybe what was the reason behind that? And maybe follow-up is, what is our promise? What is your promise to African clients?
I think it's very exciting because for South Africa, because we were actually competing. I always look back at our headquarters, as that's the venture capital part, and we have to compete for funding. But Amazon as an organization is about the long term. We see long-term opportunities. We want to invest in the long term. And if you look at Africa as a continent, 1.2 billion people on this continent, people gaining more and more access to disposable income, access to internet, satellite connections and what have you. And this is going to be the continent where it's happening. This is the continent where it's going to be, you're going to see a lot of growth, a lot of activity. And so we're very excited about the long-term potential of sub-Saharan Africa. Also, if you look at a map, if you look around the world, we've got stores. This is the 23rd online store that we've launched. We do have a store or a presence in Egypt, but sub-Saharan Africa has been absent. So this is the start of the journey. We've got a lot to learn about Africa and how, what we need to do differently for the subcontinent, but very excited about it. And I think also with just the last piece of that is, you look at online retail, 4-5% of retail's online, depending on who you believe. I think there's a lot of potential for growth of online as customers experience just how convenient and cool it is to shop online.
Yeah, I think particularly younger people, and your promise to African clients?
I think, look, it's really centered on 3 core things. One is selection. We want the broadest product selection available. Lots of different products, availability of lots of different things, including South African products. Great value for money. We're working very hard to make sure that, we'll do the shopping for you. You don't have to go from site to site to site and look around and say, who's got the best price? Everyday essentials, good everyday value on the site. And then the third pillar of that is just great convenience. We were just chatting earlier with some of the other colleagues about, ordering stuff and getting it delivered at home or to a pickup point close to your home is just so much more convenient than having to, you go to the store, you've got to buy an extra seat in the taxi to put your big bale of toilet paper or paper towel or whatever it is. So I think as South Africans generally start experiencing the convenience of online, the great value, and that broad product selection. I think you'll see them moving online more and more.
And what has it been like to set up this last mile, the delivery part of it, and in South Africa?
I think exciting. We've partnered with 2 local companies who've got a lot of experience of that last mile delivery. They understand all the dynamics. And we've blended our own technology and systems with, into what they're doing. And so if you look at the experience that we're providing, same day shipping, actually at the moment we're running, there's free delivery for everything that we're shipping until the end of the year. And if you can get same day delivery for R1, whole R1. And I think what's been most important to us is we do what we say we're going to do.
Yeah.
Because every single item that you see on the store has a delivery promise. So we say, look, you'll get this on Tuesday, or you'll get this by the end of the day. And that's the most important. We want to make sure that we stick to exactly that. Not the day before, not the day after, but what we say we're going to do, we want to do it. So it's been working pretty well. We're getting great feedback on our delivery speeds. And not only in the big centers, Joburg and Cape Town, but across all of the country.
How do you play with smaller businesses? Because there's always this fear sometimes that when big platforms come through, that it affects smaller businesses. Yeah.
Small businesses are critical to us. And I think if you look globally, more than 60% of what we sell is other businesses selling on Amazon. And the cool thing about it is that a lot of those other businesses are actually small businesses. And so I've had the fortune of meeting a lot of them. And every country that we go to, those small businesses, there's some really inspiring stories. People who've been laid off from their job, and then it's the catalyst for them actually taking that family hot sauce recipe, bottling it, and starting to sell it online. Yeah. And so we want the same in South Africa. And so if you look at the store right now, we've got Shop Mzansi, which is a special collection of South African brands, South African products, Nomakade, Suki Suki, King Kong that's making leather products, a number of different truly South African products, and then helping them to, tell their story online, because a lot of them have very inspiring stories as to how they started, what the brand's about, and being designed for South Africans, like in the cosmetic case, designed for South African skins. And so to be able to tell that story on the Amazon store is just really critical. So big focus for us to get that local selection and, build that out and help them to get online. And we offer a number of tools. There's a seller university. We're running webinars all the time, but we've got thousands of registered sellers who want to sell in the store, and just helping them get online and start to be able to sell.
And what advice would you give, some of our clients who are small businesses that are not yet active, either in e-commerce or on your platform?
Look, it's being a small business it's hard. It's not an easy journey. But part of what I think becomes easier with the Amazon marketplace is that we do a lot of the heavy lift, the tough stuff, like picking and packing and shipping and taking the order and taking the payments and collecting the returns and all those type of things, so that they can focus on making great products. And so if you're a small, business in Nelspruit or somewhere, you've only got a small market that you're selling to today. Whereas the minute you go online, you're getting access to millions of people. And so it's just, look, there is a bit of an investment, getting the right photographs, we encourage, each of these businesses to have barcodes. How do you tell your story? All those kind of things. There's an investment in that. But once you digitized and you're getting it right here, and you're getting it right on Amazon in South Africa, there's actually no reason why you can't then go and start selling in the US or the UK or Germany. And let's reverse that trend. Let's have them starting to sell great South African products
Yeah.
in other
in
countries.
other countries as well.
And it becomes easier because you've already got the barcode, you've already got the pictures, you've got the story and all that. You're used to how we operate. So I want tens of thousands of South African sellers, selling all over the world would be, that's the goal.
And the pricing situation?
Look, we want to offer great value for money in the store. That's the goal. That's the intent. We're also sourcing locally. It is really critical to us, all of the local regulation, making sure we comply with all of that. Because we're a South African company. We're here, we're employing South Africans. We are run by South Africans for South Africans. And so, I think that also differentiates us when we're doing this in country.
I'm not sure that many people actually are aware of that. It's quite that is an incredible differentiator, I think.
It is, and actually what a lot of people are not familiar with is that Amazon has actually been in the country. This month we're celebrating 20 years in the country. And so a big pillar of our cloud business, Amazon Web Services, was started in Cape Town by a couple of South African guys who came back and did the development here, which is a cool story. And today we employ thousands of people in the country, and we're continuing to grow that, and a big investment in the country. Investing in data centers, investing in solar power up in Northern Cape. Now, this next part of the journey has been, building the online store. We also have a skills center down in Cape Town where we are providing, anybody can come in and get free skills, free cloud training, which I think is just so critical for our development as a country. So there is a deep investment, and that's important to us, yeah.
What's the data saying? So what are South Africans buying so far?
Look, it's very early, but obviously the typical things of electronics, computers. We're selling a lot of irons and toasters and air fryers and all the usual stuff that you would expect. But I think what we've been very excited about is just the South Africans buying the everyday essentials, the basics that every South African needs in their house. And so we actually created and we do this in many other countries where we operate, but everyday essentials. And so simple things like your Sunlight Liquid or your Handy Andy or your Firelighters or your, we're selling a lot of nappies at the moment because we offer just great value for money on the nappies. But it's those basic items, because I think we all know South Africans are strapped for money at the moment and are looking very hungry for good value. And it's not only about the mobile phone or the laptop, it's about getting good value for money all the time in a consistent way online. And that's what we're seeing a lot of uptake on those things.
Well, South Africa is a beachhead in terms of the retail online operation. Expansion, and those, and this is where I guess comes back to you. Standard Bank has a huge African business, right? So across the spectrum. Is there any regions that excite you, like long-term, longer-term? I guess you do say you have a long-term horizon.
Yeah, I think the whole continent excites us, and there's a lot of, but we've got a lot to learn locally. And as a company, we like to experiment a lot and try new things and test. And this is, and I'll say it again, it's about a South African store, authentic experience where we want South Africans to really feel at home and really feel listened to within the store. So we spend a lot of time taking customer feedback and making it an authentic South African experience, whether it's search terms that you're looking for, the things that South Africans search for, the products that they want, the kind of look and feel and the overall experience. But, if we get as we broaden online to all South Africans, we're not just here to serve a small part of the population. We're here to serve all 62 million South Africans. And so that's going to require a lot of experimentation of, what do we need to do to really resonate with everyone? And some of the things we do may not work, but, and again, that's why we've hired such a diverse and a broad spectrum of South Africans into the company, because they understand, they've got a lot better understanding of our consumer and our target consumer, which is important to us. So we'll learn, we want to learn and learn as much as we can. Some of that will apply as we look at other places to go. But we've got lots to do here still.
And security, just if I think about one of the big things we see with our other client, any online offering is just the fraud, and quite a lot of data leakages across the world.
Yeah.
How are you keeping clients safe in that regard?
We take that, data privacy, data security is a very, very high priority. I'll actually give you an example of, because we often think about data privacy and data security as the online and getting access to data. But one of the small things that we do is, like when we're packing boxes in a fulfillment center, that person packing the box doesn't know who that product's going to. Because what we intentionally do is we separate the packing of the box to when we put the label on the box, because that protects your privacy. You don't want someone knowing, hey, what you order, or you may not want someone knowing that. Same as when returns come back, is you need to remove the label. We tag it with another marker, but you want to remove any personally identifiable data from that box. And those are, the kind of extent that we're going to, but very robust systems that have been tested, hardened, tested and tried over decades. And then using artificial intelligence and other models to, really detect where we can look after customers even more.
So here at Standard Bank, a big part of our drivers is the moniker Africa is our home, where we drive its growth. Just get us into the view of Amazon on the continent as a whole and its long-term potential. You spoke about this young populace and so on, but just get us a view of what they think of the potential that lies.
Yeah, I think, look, there's a lot of interest in Africa, and hence the investment, the deep investment on the AWS side and in the online business and the continued investment that we plan to make here. But I think we've also, as South Africans, we've got to be proud of the continent and what we are going to do here, because there are a lot of good things happening. You look at our, compared to some emerging countries, we have a very stable inflation rate. We've got a much more stable currency, and there are a lot of. You look at our government and national unity, and I think that's set an interesting standard for many countries. And so I think what I've seen coming back to South Africa after a bit of time out of the country is just a lot of positivity about what can be done and what will be done in the country. And it's up to each of us to just be a big part of that development. My own, I mentioned small business, but I do think that small business is going to be a big focus for us. And helping build small business, because to me that is the future of South Africa and the continent, and we've all got to get together and help small business to grow and develop in the country.
Talking about small businesses, well, let's speak to the big guns. Rob, you're South African, so the market, the Shoprite and so on, all your competition. Just how competitive a space is it? Is South Africa really? Since you've been here?
Look, I mentioned this is the 23rd country we've entered. We face competition everywhere we go. But what is important to us is to just keep our focus on the customer. You don't see, you don't want to look over your shoulder and all that. The best thing we can do is to just listen very carefully to our customer on a daily basis and, make sure that we're addressing what they want and what they need and acting on that feedback. And that's where we're going to focus. One of the things that we have quite uniquely in South Africa is 24/7 live customer support. So, you can, and the best thing is that those are South African agents that you're talking to. So, and some of them can switch to Xhosa or Zulu or whatever you want to speak. But I spend a lot of time with those agents in the call center and just asking, hey, what are they saying? What are they saying? And we obsess about every piece of feedback. And just, that's where the energy should go, is just making it better and better and better for the South African shopper. So that's where I spend my time.
Funeka, you run Standard Bank, the biggest retail operation on the continent. The digital economy, and how much does it excite you, that growth of it across for the bank itself and for Standard Bank? Just your thoughts about it.
Firstly, I think we were, as a continent, you will recall in the 90s, we sort of leapfrogged. People who did not have landlines started to have mobiles. And now what we've seen is the same kind of dramatic transition to smartphones. and then data is becoming much more available, and through many government initiatives and also private companies, renewable energy drive also means that more and more people will have an ability to plug in. And that now means this incredible situation where you can have a connected African continent, where people are plugged into the economy physically, literally. And for me, what excites me, particularly with our young people, who much more than us are much more interested in creation, is that they can create goods, they can create services that they can plug into the world and actually sell it to the world. So for me, I think of it more importantly as access to markets primarily, because I want to see us not only as consumers, but also as people who are selling our products to the world. I cannot wait to see young African out there take, the clay that Xhosa women always wore for hundreds of years, that must have some sort of, it obviously has sun protection and exfoliation. Some youngster must turn that into a product that they can sell to the world, and focus on the product and be part of the broad distribution. So for me, that I think it's a way of us fundamentally turning our population dividend to a real market and a talent dividend.
There is no reason why the next big brand, the next big exciting thing that the world takes notice of, why shouldn't it come from South Africa? There's no reason. And maybe it is Xhosa sun cream or clay or whatever it is, but we've got some really entrepreneurial, innovative people in the country. It's just really helping them to find the paths to getting those products going and getting them online and selling.
And I mean this because 2 months ago I bought, I won't mention the brand, but I bought a mask which claims to be Australian red clay. And it's really good. When you then have a connection to the entire world market, then I think it will liberate this creative energy and indigenous assets that we already have.
So it's been 10 years since we have Black Friday. I think just as we've seen this digital shift in our online environment. You spoke about 4% of e-commerce. It's the size of, how big is this market potentially?
If you look at many of the countries where we operate, online is more than 20% of retail. And I think it's going to grow here, 4%, 5%, whatever it is. It's clearly there's a demand. And I think as long as we as an organization are providing that great selection, great convenience and, just a great experience and good value for money, customers will start experiencing that and you'll see the growth, I have no doubt.
Are there certain client, in the other markets we're at, are there certain client personas where the 20% is higher?
I don't have the data, but from what just anecdotally, I think you see, clearly there are things like electronics tend to sell very well online, but I don't think, it is all pervasive, all demographics. And I know you've mentioned a few times young people being comfortable, but it's amazing how you've got a lot of gogos, and we actually partner with the company Go. So in many of the countries we operate, you can get gift wrapping. So you just click that little box when you check out. We wrap the product for you. But what we've done it differently in South Africa, where we actually put it in a gift bag. And that gift bag gets made by Gogos, actually Gogos in Alexandra, where they're putting these together. And it's a commercial arrangement where we're buying them. We've actually just given them another big order. So they're madly sewing like crazy with recycled product. But we also, with that same organization, we're doing like online training or tech training. They do the training for these Gogos to help them. How do you shop online? How do you be safe online? Because they have such an important influence over, kids, grandkids in the community. So I don't think it's exclusive to young people or a specific demographic. I think it is pretty pervasive. And I always say to the team, I think we'll know when we're starting to get real traction is when you've got a Gogo in deep rural KwaZulu-Natal or elsewhere, shopping with confidence online. knowing that, hey, I can return this if I'm not happy with the quality. I can, I know that my payment's going to be looked after. I know that Amazon is a trusted place to go and shop.
My final questions. Wherever Amazon has gone, we've read the reports. It always changes economies as just for its vast scale. What do you think Amazon's entry on this level into South African economy says about us, our consumers, our own customers, and their habits and how they're shifting? And what does it say about just maybe how does it affect the bank? What does it say about us?
I mean, three things. Firstly, the point that's already been made that this is already their home. It's definitely long time coming. The second one is that I think exactly it's a reflection of seeing the potential of the continent. And I agree with you that you have to look at the continent in terms of sub-Saharan. And as the continent, which is exciting, and I'm hoping Amazon will be part of that, of the continent doing business with one another, and opening up those trade routes. That's going to be, I want to be able to buy Ghanaian shea butter, on South African website, as opposed to going and buying firstly in Europe before it comes here, so to speak. I'm hoping that over time, the Angolan family, the guys in Luanda, will be able to buy beef-based products or cow-based products, I don't know, from Botswana and not only to Portugal. So I think the facilitation of it, inter-Africa trade, that is my dream and hope about it. Yeah.
Rob, you're South African. How long have you been back? And how exciting is this adventure you're on right now? It's closing.
Been back a year and a half. I can't believe the energy and the potential here. I think we, South Africans sometimes tend to focus a little bit more on the negative stuff. We should be proud of our country. We've got an amazing potential in this country, amazing people. I've been really pleased and amazed by the quality of people that we've been able to hire in the country. And, they'll be the leaders of the future in our, in the online store, because this is a long-term journey. We're only right at the beginning of this. We're here for that journey, whether it's Ghanaian, the shea butter or whatever it is that we want to source. We're here for the long term. We're excited about this journey. And it's great to be back.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and all the best.